host, Checkers the Inventor.
Hello and welcome to Checkers Library TV. Thank you so much for joining us. We're thrilled you're here. This is going to be a great show. Now, before I go any further, I do have to introduce my friend, my robot pal, Snoozer.
Da-da-da-da-da, I'm Snoozer. Hi, everyone. Hi, Checkers. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic as always, and it's great to have you here, pal. And it's great to have all of you viewers at home watching us. Now, let's get on with the show. Well, it's the week of August 3rd all the way up to August 9th, and that means it's time to look to see what we are celebrating for this week. First and foremost, we have to wish everybody celebrating a birthday this week a happy birthday.
Happy snabby birthday to you!
Yes, and today's a little bit special because later today, stay tuned for the end of the show, we're going to be announcing the Checkers Birthday Club. So stay tuned for that. That's coming at the end of the show. We're talking about the Checkers Birthday Club. But now it's time to talk about some of the other stuff we are celebrating for this week. Now, first and foremost, on August 4th, we're talking about National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. Now, chocolate chip cookies are my absolute favorite cookies. Not even close. Chocolate chip cookies are my favorite, and they've been around since 1938, which I mentioned a while ago. It's the same year that the first Superman comic came out, and I remember that is 1938. It was invented by a woman named Ruth Graves Wakefield, and she invented chocolate chip cookies. She was a chef, and she had a little restaurant called the Toll House, and she was just thinking about, she's making some cookies. She added some chocolate chips, and that day she thought of chocolate chip cookies all the way back in 1938. And if you follow cookies today, there are still chocolate chips made called Toll House chocolate chips. You can still buy those today. And now you'll know that is invented by Ruth Graves Wakefield. And that is fantastic. Chocolate Chip Cookie Day on August 4th. Now all the way to August 6th is National Root Beer Float Day. Root beer floats, now I'm not sure if all you guys have heard of them. They used to be a little bit more popular because they were invented all the way back in 1893 by a man named Frank J. Wisner. Now, this was back when there was a lot of competition for soda, and some people call it pop in different parts of the country. And Frank J. Wisner thought of putting ice cream in his root beer, and it was so popular that he is credited as the person who came up with the idea of a root beer float, which is also called a black cow. Some people still call it that. But root beer floats have been around for, as we mentioned, over 120 years, and that is super interesting how they came to be. If you've ever tried a root beer float, it's just root beer with some ice cream, usually vanilla, put inside of it, and a lot of people love it. It's kind of a dessert and a drink, and it's really fantastic. Root Beer Float Day, that is August 6th. Now, August 8th is International Cat Day. Oh my gosh, how many of you have a cat? I a lot of times ask people who do they like better, cats or dogs, and a lot of people aren't sure which one they like better, but cats are a very popular pet, and a lot of people love them. Snoozer, do you have a cat?
No, I have a teddy bear.
That's right, Snoozer doesn't have a cat. Snoozer has a teddy bear. That's not really a pet though, Snoozer. Anyway, there's one other thing I want to talk about, which is on August 9th. It is National Book Lovers Day. What a great thing to be celebrating here on Checkers Library TV. Awesome thing to celebrate. Now, on this day, which is August 9th, we are celebrating everyone's loves for books. People who love books, people who love storytelling, going to the library, everything like that. It's a great thing to talk about. Now, on this day, we do want to make sure we're not spending as much time on social media, not on our phones, we're not watching too much TV, watching movies, spending time at the computer, all this stuff like looking at screens like Dr. Dan talks about. We don't want to do too much of that on this day. Instead, we want to be going to the library, reading a book with our family, reading a book by ourselves, something like that to celebrate Book Lovers Day. So grab a book on August 9th and celebrate this great special day. Well, we have a lot of cool stuff to celebrate, but we are going to now move on to the show, which is going to be fantastic for today. Mrs. Hamilton's back. Of course, Dr. Dan's back. Great guest coming on Let's Get to Know Somebody related to books. It's going to be interesting, but I can't tell you what it is. Of course, the birthday club announcements coming later, and a whole bunch more, all coming to you here on Checkers Library TV.
Did you know? There are currently 264 known monkey species. The mandrill is the largest type of monkey, with adult males weighing up to 77 pounds. That's a big monkey. Apes are not monkeys. Sorry, Hey, King Kong, don't eat me! Some monkeys live on the ground, while others live in trees. The library has tons of books about monkeys. Visit the library to learn more.
To Let's Get to Know, the part of the show where we go out into the community. We meet some really cool people and we learn more about them and their story. And today we're meeting somebody really special. We are meeting with Kim Krug. And Kim Krug is an entrepreneur. She is someone who started her own business. And what business did she start? Well, she is a book lover. So she took all her love of books and all her reading knowledge and experience and took her knowledge of business, put it together, and started a bookstore called Monkey See, Monkey Do Bookstore. And she's been running that for a number of years, but now she's got something really special that she's doing, also involving books, that we are going to learn more about today. And that's why I brought my transporting microphone. Take me to the bookstore. Wow! All right, we're here. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. Let's get to know Kim Krug. How are you doing, Kim?
Good, thank you so much.
We really appreciate you having us on here, and we're so excited to get to know you. Now, we wanted to learn more about you. You're, of course, a bookstore owner. So our first question is, how did you get into being a bookstore owner?
Well, you know, it was not on my radar at all. I was in a completely different work experience in healthcare, and really with the birth of my children. So when they were born, I have 3 children that are really close in age. They're now older, they're grown.
Right.
But when they were little, I loved reading storybooks to them, and it just was so important. You know, that bedtime ritual of reading stories and books started that passion within me. What could I do further for children and helping them with a creative learning environment?
So you started, by loving books and passing it on to your children, and then you wanted to kind of widen that out and make it into, even bigger thing.
That's right. I said, well, and I personally, as you said, I personally love reading books, and I also was helping another independent bookstore at the time that only worked with adult books. And I thought, well, geez, if we could do this for adults and inspiring them with a love of learning and books, why couldn't we do it for children? Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. And I love the Monkey See, Monkey Do vibe. So where did you come up with monkeys?
Well, as a kid, one of my favorite books was Curious George. So, and I had a lubby, which was a monkey, of course. So that was something that never left my side. And so monkeys, yes, I love monkeys. And I have 3 monkeys of my own. So hence my logo, not true monkeys, they're my kids.
And so now your bookstore is going through kind of a transition. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I'm really excited about this next step. We've been here in our space for 11 years now, and we're ready to take that next leap. And the leap will be that we're going to be on the go. We're on the move. We're going to be all throughout Western New York. So we'll be bringing our books, our services, the events that we're known to provide here in the bookstore. We're going to be on the go and on the road and providing them throughout Western New York.
So it's a traveling bookstore. It's almost like an ice cream truck, right? You'll be going out.
That's right. So providing books, providing our literacy program, and our services.
That is awesome. So you're gonna have a traveling bookstore. Now, in addition to having a bookstore, you also started something which was called the Western New York Book Expo. Now, what is that? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, so, really cool. My mother who helped me open up the bookstore, she has since retired, but back in 2014, we actually responded to a contest by best-selling author James Patterson. He was working on giving away money to booksellers that came up with creative ways to inspire children. And we thought the best way that we could do that was to create a book festival in our community that was free, that children, adults, parents, teachers can come to and meet authors directly in person. Buffalo's never had that before. We didn't really think much of it in terms of that contest that we applied to, but the week before Christmas, we received a check from James Patterson, and he said, start your first expo. And that's how it began.
Wow.
That next year, we rolled up our sleeves and we planned the event within 9 months, and we held our first expo.
And you guys have been just growing ever since, right?
We have grown ever since. This would have been our 6th year. We're giving it a pause this year due to the virus, but we will be back November 2021. On November 13th, it's the second Saturday in November, to host the expo. I know you'll be there because you're one of our local authors that we've invited, along with over 35 authors from all over the world.
Wow.
So we're super excited.
So you've got a lot of authors that are going to be there and be a part of it.
They're already committed.
Wow, that's fantastic. Awesome. All right, well, that's such a great event, getting kids and families out into the community and getting to see authors and meet them and also see their work. So that's awesome. That's a really great thing to be a part of. And that you started is even more awesome.
Thank you.
Now it is time. Whoa. How did I get here?
Oh! Sorry, Checkers! I was playing with your checkers pad! I must have hit something to bring you back home!
Snoozer! We were just about to get to the best part, the 7 fast questions.
Aw, oh well. Maybe you can go back sometime.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, when Kim starts her mobile bookstore, we're gonna have to check back in with her and see how it's going. Good idea there, Snoozer.
Yippee!
All right, well, we really appreciate Kim Krug letting us come and get to know her and learn more about her and all the cool stuff she is doing. And we will have another special guest here next time on Let's Get to Know.
If you would like to email Checkers and Snoozer, send your emails to checkers@checkerslibrarytv.com. We always look forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely! You can hear the trees, the sound of the wind. It's almost like nature is making its own music. In fact, that reminds me of a book I read once.
What's it called?
Oh, it's a surprise. We're gonna go to the library and check it out right now.
Oh, all right. But it better be good.
Well, Snoozer, here we are in the Fuzzleland Library. And here's the book, Giraffes Can't Dance. It's going to teach us about music and nature and a whole bunch more, and it will be narrated by Mrs. Hamilton.
Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andre, illustrated by Guy Parker Rees. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel. And 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor. But the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald!" the animals all sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor, and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing, and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I am dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen! How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and the stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find music that we love.
Well,
It was fantastic!
it's fun to think about all the purposes of music. A lot of people like to dance to music, and that's also a great way to get exercise. So music can be used for a lot of things. But like I talked about before, nature kind of makes its own music. And if you step outside and listen, you can hear all sorts of examples of nature making sounds on its own.
Like what?
Well, it could be crickets, it could be the wind howling, the trees swaying back and forth, or even rain dropping from the sky. So Snoozer, next time we're outside, stop and listen. You might hear some really cool things.
Whee!
And now, the question of the week. What is your favorite day of the year?
I like my birthday the best because I get lots of presents and I get to have my family over to swim and I have cake and I open presents.
Hi, my name is Mason, and my favorite day of the year is Friday.
My favorite day of the year is New Year's Eve because we get to have popcorn, watch movies, have our family over, and eat other desserts that we don't get to have too often. And I like that we get to stay up till midnight and have our family over.
My favorite day of the year is Christmas.
My favorite day of the year is Easter because I get to have flags and I get to have my grandma over to eat lunch and have dinner.
My favorite day of the year is Christmas.
My favorite day of the year is the last day of school because school's over and I get to sleep in all summer.
Thanks for joining us for the Question of the Week.
Welcome back to Show and Tell, the part of the show where I show you something really special to me. And today, what do we have inside of our house? Ooh, this is really special. These are the Checkers the Inventor books. Some books that I wrote when I was really little and younger, and some books that have been officially published and are now available in many libraries. Let's take them out and take a look at them. Ever since I was really young, I wanted to become a real author with my own published book, a real book that you can go to the library and check out. But of course, whenever you're younger, you might not have enough money to do it. You might need to be an adult to do some of the things you have to do to get a book published. It just seems so complicated when you're little. So the good thing is you can start really simple, and that's what I did. I just started out with, a pencil and a paper, and I had some markers, and I started making my own stories. And of course, the library theme is Imagine Your Story. You could be imagining your story today. I told you on our last show that I like to imagine my own stories and write my own stories, and here is a story I wrote when I was younger. Now, this is actually about the Pink Panther, which is a cartoon I watched when I was younger, so I wanted to kind of base it on something I knew, but you could also come up with your own characters, You could write a story about somebody you do know, like Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, or you could come up with something totally different, totally new, whatever you want, and it's a great thing to do. You can use your imagination, come up with some adventure or story you want to tell, write the words, you can have your mom and dad help you write the words, and then you can draw your pictures however you want. Now, it took me a while. I spent a lot of years working on things like this. This is just one example, but eventually I got my chance to write a real story, which was in 6th grade. We had a class project where they were going to help make our own book that we could publish, and it was really awesome, really special. It was part of our project, and I wrote a story called The City of Zot, which was about 3 explorers who come across scary and ferocious giants, and it was a lot of fun coming up with my own story, like I said, using my imagination. And we did use markers to illustrate our books, and then we had our got to write text on the book and have a real book. It was pretty special. The only problem with this book was I couldn't go to a library to check it out or anything like that, but I could still have it at home with me and have my own book. And then I spent a lot of time working on creating characters, of course, creating things like Snoozer, one of my great inventions, my other stuff that I've been building out for years, coming up with ideas, and eventually I wanted to take all these ideas and bring it down into a real book. And that is when I was lucky enough to meet somebody named Rachel D'Annunzio, who is a published author. She's written over a dozen books with all sorts of different characters and storylines and many different things she's written about, and she's a great author. And I met with her, coming to her with my idea of what I wanted to do for my story. And she was nice enough to help me work through my story and also illustrate it, take my ideas and create characters that she would draw on paper and bring them to life. She had me as an illustration, she had Snoozer, and anything else that was in my head, she brought into a real book, and it came out last year. We published our first book, which is so special to me to have, there's me, there's Snoozer on it. This is called Checkers and Snoozer, Snoozer's Science Adventure. Now, this book's about Snoozer traveling to a science museum. So you've got all the cool things. You've got a map of Fuzzleland. You've got Snoozer traveling in a car, going to the museum, and having a little bit of trouble happen when Snoozer's got a sneezing problem. But this was so awesome to me to actually have a book that I could check out at a library. Now, we sent this to many different libraries that had it available where people could go to the library, take this book home with them, and I heard a lot of awesome feedback from different readers across the world, just like you guys, who checked this book out, read it, and let us know what they thought of it, and it was really awesome to me. And we've also moved on now. Dr. Dan, who you guys know, has helped us write another book, which is Snoozer Meets Dr. Dan, another Checkers and Snoozer adventure. Snoozer afraid to go to the doctor, but learning that going to the doctor is not so scary, especially when your doctor is as cool and fun as Dr. Dan is. So now we've got 2 Checkers and Snoozer books out. My dream has come true. I've written my own stories, that are published works. And you could do something like that eventually too, but like I said, it should start really simple. It can start right from home with a marker, pencil, paper, get together and start imagining your own stories. And we will see you next time with more stuff to show you here on Show and Tell.
And now it's time for
The Joke of the Week. So a librarian is in a movie theater and notices what looks like a bear sitting next to her. So the librarian says, "Are you a bear?" And the bear says, "Yes." And the librarian says, "What are you doing at the movies?" And the bear replied, "Well, I like the book." Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Checkers Loves Books. This is the part of the show where I recommend books that I think you should be reading. And we, as always, have two fantastic books to talk about today. Books for older readers and books for younger readers. And we're going to start with the younger readers. We have Frog and Toad Together by Arnold Lobel. And this is a Newbery Honor book because it's been awarded for being a fantastic story about two characters, Frog and Toad, as the title would suggest, going on simple everyday life sort of adventures. They go exploring off into the woods, they're traveling, they're acting in theater, things of that nature. It's pretty simple, it's not too hard to read. When you get older, you'll be able to start reading this book all by yourselves. And like I always say, if you're a bit younger, it's okay to have your mom and dad or anyone else who's an adult read this story to you. You're gonna get to look at the pictures. I kind of like the illustrations. They're really simple and fun. I always liked Frogs and Toads when I was younger. That might be some of the reason why I like this book so much. But it's a lot of fun to read through, and I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. As I said, it's also an award-winning story. It's been around for a number of years, and I think this is a nice book your mom and dad may have heard of, and they'll be reading it to you. So that's fantastic. Frog and Toad Together is our story. Now for the older readers, I'm talking about this book, which is called Sports Heroes and Legends, Jackie Robinson. Now this is one of those books that's kind of in a series, but really what I want to highlight is Jackie Robinson. Now Jackie Robinson was a baseball player who played in the major league in the early to mid 1900s. Now I first heard of Jackie Robinson when I was much younger. My neighbor gave me a ball that had Jackie Robinson's face and his name on it, and I thought it was really awesome. And as I got older, there was a time in my third grade class where we got to do a project about anyone throughout history, and I picked Jackie Robinson because I learned more about his story, which is absolutely fantastic and really interesting. Now, Jackie Robinson was the first African-American man to play in Major League Baseball. Now, it might be hard to believe now, but back a long time ago, people weren't allowed to play in certain sports and professional leagues just because of the color of their skin. And Jackie Robinson was the first person to break that barrier, and he was a hero to so many people in the world, and he's still being remembered today for the impact he made. He was also a great player. He did win the World Series once, and he made a great impact. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now this book is great because it's going to take you through all the story of Jackie Robinson, all the things that he dealt with on his path to becoming a professional Major League Baseball player. There was a lot of tough times for Jackie Robinson, a lot of tough things he had to deal with, and he had a lot of pressure. Like I said, he was the first person doing something really important and really special, and there were a lot of people that were very unfriendly to him that he had to grow around and work through, and it was really tough for him, but he did ultimately become a hero. Not just a sports hero, but a hero for so many people across the world. So this is a great story to read. Now, if you can't find this exact story, ask your library if they have any book about Jackie Robinson. They should have maybe some longer books, maybe some shorter books, but it's really a story worth understanding and knowing and reading about. Whether you're a boy or girl, whether you like sports or not, I think this is a really important story, the story of Jackie Robinson. So try to find it, read it, and I think you're going to love it. Once again, this is Sports Heroes and Legends, Jackie Robinson. So one more time, we've got Frog and Toad Together for the younger readers, and of course our Jackie Robinson book for the older readers. Read these books and check out other books at your library. We'll be back next time on Checkers Loves Books.
Would you like the chance to have your very own keepsake of Checkers and Snoozer in your home? Now you can have your own Checkers and Snoozer books or your own Snoozer plush toy. Excellent for birthdays, holiday presents, special achievements, or just to have the fun of Checkers and Snoozer in your family's home. Order yours today at www.checkerstheinventor.com store.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Dan. Welcome to our health tip of the week. And today we're going to be talking about 3 easy steps you can make in your house to ensure it's as safe as possible. So the first thing is a fire extinguisher. Now you might remember in some of our other episodes, I'm also a firefighter, so I'm always making sure to have a fire extinguisher on each level of my house and that I know how to use it. The easiest way to remember how to use a fire extinguisher is to think of 4 letters. P-A-S-S, that's pass, like pass me the fire extinguisher. So the first one is P, that's pulling out our safety tab, so making sure P for pull. A is for aim, so aiming our fire extinguisher at the base of the fire, that's the bottom, never at the top, always at the bottom. The first S is for squeeze, like squeezing our trigger right here and making the fire suppressant come out. And the fourth one is S, and that's sweep, sweeping back and forth until the fire is out. If you don't know how to use a fire extinguisher, that's totally fine. Just talk to your parents, maybe watch some videos on the internet, or better yet, go down to your local fire department. I'm sure someone would be happy to show you how to use a fire extinguisher. The second thing to always have is a flashlight. Make sure you always have a flashlight somewhere you can easily get to it, whether that's under the sink or in a closet, and make sure everyone in your house knows exactly where it is. In case there's ever a power outage or you need to see outside at night, always have a flashlight. And it's a great idea to have a little one like this that you can put in your backpack or in your nightstand when you go to sleep at night, that you always have it with you. Now the last thing to always have in our house is a first aid kit, and make sure it's always full of all the things we might need for first aid emergencies, like gauze, band-aids, alcohol wipes, maybe some over-the-counter medicines, ice packs, basic stuff, and make sure, like the flashlight, that we always know where it is. Alright everyone, so those are the main 3 things we should have in our house at all times: a fire extinguisher, a flashlight, and a first aid kit, and always make sure you know how to use them and where they are. I'm Dr. Dan, and let's get back to Checkers Library TV.
Checkers Library TV is made possible by libraries across America. Support your local library today.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for another great show here on Checkers Library TV. We all hope you really enjoyed the show, had a lot of fun with us. We know we had a great special time with you. Snoozer, what was your favorite part of today's show?
Books, books, books. I love the books. And I really like the bookstore owner.
Yeah, celebrating books is always great. It was great to have so much to talk about books today, but we're going to be continuing doing that here on Library TV, and it's always great to be meeting with somebody who specializes with books, you know, having their own bookstore. That is so cool. Well, there's a lot of other cool stuff we did today with Dr. Dan, but now it is time to reveal the Checkers Birthday Club. And what the Checkers Birthday Club is a way for you to get a special surprise from Checkers and Snoozer sent to you on your birthday. And here's how you do it. You go over to checkerstheinventor.com, again to the Fun Zone page, and right away today, you're gonna go there and see a spot to write in an email. And that's why you're gonna have your mom and dad with you. You're gonna write in your email. Everything is completely free. There's no costs at all. All you do is write in your email, and then we will send you right away a special gift. You're gonna get a special gift. And what is that gift? Well, I'll tell you what, it is the Checkers Ultimate Fun Guide. It has activities, it's got games, it's got coloring sheets, it's got healthy tips and tricks from Dr. Dan. We also have some healthy food recipes for you guys to check out, some interesting facts you might not have known, some stuff about Snoozer and Fuzzland and all my inventions. You're gonna learn so much from this thing, and there's also just so many fun activities for you guys to spend a lot of time with. And I also mentioned you can color stuff in, so you can get coloring, celebrating, National Coloring Book Day we talked about a few weeks ago, and so much more. You'll have so much fun with this. This is a gift that will be sent to you. But when you sign up for the Birthday Club, you're gonna get a special surprise sent to you on your birthday. So it's very important to write in the day of your birthday, and we will send you guys special surprise on your birthday. So that is so fantastic. As I mentioned, it's completely free. It's super fun and exciting. It is the Checkers Birthday Club. Make sure you sign up for that today.
That's so cool! A message from Checkers and Snoozer. That's me on your birthday!
Well, we had so much exciting stuff happen today, but next week's gonna be even more special, and we can't wait for it. We have a new guest coming here on Let's Get to Know. We're gonna be talking again with Snoozer with the Joke of the Week. I'm gonna bring up more books that I think you should be reading, some other cool adventures we're gonna be having. Dr. Dan, Mrs. Hamilton, the whole crew's coming back next week, and we have a lot, and I mean a lot, of special surprises coming right to you next week here on Checkers Library TV.